Hello, welcome to another edition of Eye on Matteson. I'm your host, Laverne Murphy, and Village President Sheila Chalmers-Kern is the executive producer of the show. On this edition of Eye on Matteson, I have Dr. Cheryl Green, President of Governor State University, to share exciting information about the university and some of her initiatives since becoming president of the university. Dr. Green brings more than 30 years of professional experience in higher education to her role as the 6th president of GSU. A passionate educator and administrator, Dr. Green believes fiercely in the power of education to change lives. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Cheryl Green, President of Governor State University. Thank you so much for coming on Eye on Matteson.
I'm delighted that you invited me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And as I was saying, you're such a passionate about education, and you've been doing such great things in the community by serving on so many boards that span across the United States. Can you share with us a little bit about your background and your journey that's kind of brought you here today?
Well, let me just start by saying I'm a very proud Chicago native.
Okay.
And my educational and professional journey began there. I am also a graduate of Lindblom Technical High School. I then went on to Manchester University to earn a bachelor's of science in psychology and 2 degrees from SIU Carbondale, my master's and PhD in counseling psych. So after being educated and finishing school, I started work in a variety of places across the U.S. But common to those places that I worked was a focus on serving the community. So everywhere that I've worked, I've tried to join volunteer, not-for-profit boards because they give back to the community.
So true. I like that. I like your mindset behind that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And that you're an alum of ISU, Carbondale. SIU Carbondale. So that's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about GSU. What makes GSU exciting? What makes them different?
Well, I have a lot to say, obviously, about GSU. First of all, I want to say that the good thing about a person who decides to go to GSU is that they can learn local. Right here in the South suburban area, we have a regional comprehensive public university in the state of Illinois. We are the only state university in the Southland. There are other colleges, but we are the only state public university. And so we are affordable. We make sure that we provide as much access for all students, no matter what their background is, their ethnic identity, their culture, their language, their nation of origin. We embrace all students. And therefore, GSU is what's called an MSI, Minority Serving Institution. So we have a large percentage of African American, Latinx, and Caucasian students at our university, and we're very proud of the diversity that we have. The other thing is that GSU is primarily directed towards adult student learners. So that's our early history, that we started out being where you could go to complete your bachelor's degree for people who were working full-time but who wanted to go back to school. But about 8 years ago, we added freshmen and a residence hall to our mix of academic experiences for students. And we're proud of that as well because, again, we want to serve everyone and anyone who wants to go to college. We have been voted the safest campus in Illinois by niche.com. Our programs are accredited, and between the accreditation of our academic programs, our small class sizes, our affordability, and how we work to promote access, I think we're a great option for any college student.
Wow. I mean, you've shared some vital points that most individuals probably just don't know about GSU. And so do they have a sports program? And I know some individuals that may want to do, sports. Do you have any sports at GSU?
Actually, we do. Okay. We have 9 sports.
Wow.
They are basketball, soccer, volleyball, cross country. What am I leaving off?
Golf, perhaps? Do you have golf?
Golf, yes,
Oh,
we do.
okay.
We have men
Great.
and women's golf.
Wow.
Men and women's basketball, men and women's soccer. Volleyball is women's only.
Okay.
So we have 9 sports, and I'm very proud that since I've been president, we added junior varsity. So we're providing even more opportunity for students who want to come and play and go to college. So we don't just have varsity athletes on our teams. We've expanded that to junior varsity since I've been president.
Fantastic. And your, I guess your mascot would be the Jaguar. Would that be it for GSU?
Yes, it is
Great.
definitely the Jaguar.
Great.
Yes.
Well, that's phenomenal how you all were able to transition to bring in more freshmen, adding dorms, sports. Was that something fairly new?
Yes, again,
okay.
we got freshmen in dorms in 2014, so it's only been 8 years since we
Right.
got them. And the junior varsity, we just started last fall.
Wow. That's great. I mean, you talk about expanding and growing, right? You saw the need and you guys conformed to it and you adjusted to bring in that other population.
Actually,
So
my
that's great.
coaches and athletics directors came to me and said, we can do more.
Right.
And they showed me the business plan, they showed me how they can grow the teams and the enrollment, and told me what it would take, and I said, let's do it, and we've never looked back from that.
Wow, great, fantastic. And you know, you talk about all these things that GSU is doing as far as being like a safe community, one of the safest universities in the state of Illinois. But then you're also featured in Newsweek for the university's 2022 ranking in U.S. News and World Report. It's the top 25, right? Best Midwest schools for social mobility. So what does that mean, the social mobility? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Social mobility really refers to providing students with the opportunity to improve, advance, or enhance their social economic resources. So getting a college degree or getting additional certificates after a degree allows people to earn more income. And as they earn more income, they move up in social class. So that's what the social mobility piece is all about. So I'm just very proud of that. I think that that's what an educational degree is supposed to do.
Exactly.
The other thing that we were voted for tops in the Midwest is best online undergraduate business programs. And also we were ranked very highly in the Midwest for least student debt.
Wow.
Now, that is big news because, as you know, college is, costly.
Oh, yes.
And it's a sacrifice for students to choose to go to college. It's a sacrifice for the whole family for anyone to go to college. So the more we can do to lower the cost of the debt that students incur, then we're very proud of that record. So we're excited about that ranking.
Yeah, you guys should be shouting that from the mountaintop, right? Everyone wants to be out of debt when they get out of college. No one wants those lagging student loans, that's for sure. So, you touched on a little bit about some initiatives since you've been the president of GSU. What are some of the other initiatives that you've done since being the president of the university?
Well, there are a couple things that have happened since I've been president. One thing is GSU has 27 graduate programs, 31 undergraduate programs. That's not new. We have 5 doctorates. What's new is prior to my arrival, all of the doctorates were EDDs, which is a doctorate of education.
Okay.
We were awarded the ability to offer a PhD, which is a more research-focused degree, our first ever in our 53-year history. And that degree is in counselor education. So that happened while I was president. The other thing that I'm proud of is that GSU has opened the Illinois Black Hall of Fame under the vision of Dr. Ciola Davis and Congressman Danny Davis. We were able to build a monument to outstanding Illinois residents, and we had the launch and the opening recently. And a couple of other things is, when I took the office of president, America was in turmoil. socially. And so we had the pandemic, but we also had the racial unrest. And one of the things that became very clear to me is that the university needs to be a resource to providing some solutions to the social unrest. And so I made a commitment to form a social justice center. And so we are currently raising money for that building and that initiative. I hired a director. We've been providing some programming around equity and making sure that people have access to basic things like healthcare, housing, education, childcare, and improving our legal justice system. We plan to offer at Governor State University a free legal clinic for all of our students. And that's part of the university's commitment to social justice and my commitment as president. So that's just a couple of the things that I'm excited about. And I guess related to the social justice and the legal initiative, I recently signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with SIU Carbondale to offer a 3+3 degree, which means that you can get your bachelor's in 3 years, not 4, and then be automatically admitted per your law school test scores into the JD program at SIU Carbondale. So instead of it taking 7 years, it will only take 6 years. And I'm very excited about that. Chancellor Austin Lane and I signed that MOU together, and that will begin this fall.
Wow, congratulations. You are doing awesome things there.
Thank you.
Just congratulations with all the things that you've talked about with these initiatives in such a short time span. Because you've been with GSU for how long?
2 years.
You've got to be kidding me. That's such a short time frame. And to make such a big impact, that is just phenomenal.
Well, the only reason I'm able to achieve so much is because I have a great team. I have outstanding faculty, and I have, a senior leadership team that's dedicated to the same opportunities and initiatives that I embrace. And so together we make that happen. I can't do it by myself.
Wow. Well, still hats off to you and your leadership. Just
Thank you.
Phenomenal. So you talked a little bit about some of the educational options with, the number of degree programs you have, the PhD that you've now incorporated and things of that. Are there any other educational options at GSU that you can share that you have not touched on, or?
Well, I think that I'll talk a little bit about some of our really popular programs. Our MBA is a very hot commodity. Supply chain became at the forefront of everybody's daily lives when the pandemic hit, whether you could go to the store and get supplies to deal with the virus or illness or staying at home 24 hours a day. And so that program was actually in place before the pandemic, but I think it gained greater prominence after the pandemic. And GSU is also known for providing nurses and healthcare administrators, because we have the ability for students who got their AA degree somewhere else come to GSU and get a BSN, then go on to get a Master's of Science in Nursing, and then go on to get a doctorate in nurse practitioner. So we have all 3 levels of degrees. And nursing is, as you may well know, is one of the critical areas of shortage for workers that occurred during the pandemic. And so we're doing everything to scale up and produce as many nurses as possible, provide them with adequate training and clinicals in the local area hospitals and clinics. And we're very proud of that record. I think the other thing that I have to mention is our commitment to the profession of teaching. Because almost invariably, if you go around the Southland, you will meet a teacher who was educated and trained or working on their certificate at GSU. And so many of the superintendents, the principals, elementary education, all have emanated from GSU. And we are serving the community by supplying teachers. And we have some special initiatives in place where we receive special grant funding to try to increase the supply because of the shortage that everybody knows about with teachers.
Wow. Well, you're definitely meeting that local demand, educating locally, right? As you mentioned early on in the interview. So those are great things, and I'm glad that we're sharing this information with viewers today.
Me too.
It's a lot of information that individuals just don't know, especially if they're not researching it. And so for you to come on and share this information, it's just been phenomenal. So thank you so much for this.
I would love to mention one more thing, if I may. We have a special grant for a tutoring initiative. And we are currently hiring and can't find enough people who will be paid to tutor students in the greater metropolitan area of Chicago. Because when students had to go home because of the pandemic, we know that not everybody got the level of instruction that kept them on track in their classes and in their grades. And so we now have a major grant to supply tutors to help students who maybe fell behind get back on track. And so we have this Illinois Tutoring Initiative grant. So anybody in your listening audience that is passionate about helping students get back on track in school, they need to contact the university and see if they are eligible to be hired as one of our tutors.
Good, good. Thank you, and thank you for adding that information. So hopefully someone's watching will actually reach out to GSU and offer back. So this is great, thank you. Can you provide an overview of who GSU serves as far as the student population? I know you kind of touched on the ethnicity of individuals that populate the Governor State University. Can you elaborate a little bit more on those demographics and if you're serving foreign students and things of that nature?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Our international student population is probably our fastest and largest growing population.
Wow. Okay.
And so we have students from all over the world, and we are really seeing a surge in students from India. They are very attracted to our master's degree in information technology, computer science, health administration, and so our graduate programs are growing in very large numbers. We also serve mostly students from this area. 80% of the students who attend GSU are within 20 miles of GSU.
Wow, okay.
So I don't know if that's your viewing audience, but when I started our talk, when I said learn local, if you want to go to school and remain in the area, we are a definite option for any student that wants to do that. We also are military friendly.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that is that's a certain distinction that universities can get awarded, that their programs are conducive to people who are transitioning from the military to continue their education. And so we have a Veterans Resource Center on campus, and we participate in something called the PLA, Prior Learning Acceptance or Prior Learning Accreditation. And what they do is they look at the training and the certificates that people earned through their work experiences in other areas and give them college credit for that so that they can get done faster. And so that's something that people who are interested in going back to school after being in the workforce should look into. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, because we're onboarding and educating freshmen, we see so many first-generation college students too. And by first generation, I mean no one else in your family has graduated from college. And so that's a increasing population on a lot of college campuses. So we have to make sure that we have resources that not only cater to our traditional, older, mature students who is working, but also that brand new student who just started college and may not have other people in their household or in their social circle who can help them navigate college successfully. So we want to take that on and make sure the students are achieving their academic goals.
Wow, fantastic. And so a part of that, what about online learning? Do you all do online learning as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have about 5 different degrees where you can get the degree purely online. I know that one of them is like addiction studies. I believe one of our MBAs is also, MBA degrees is also an online option. And so what we found out during the pandemic is that students want to learn online. Not all students, but more than we anticipated in the industry of higher education. So GSU also has a bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies, and we have teaching certificates online, and we are just very proud of those fully online programs that really make learning more convenient for students. And we will probably be adding to that portfolio, so you'll be hearing more about online degree options at Governor State University, because it's something that the current student is demanding as an option for their learning experience.
And I think the pandemic heightened that, right? Because we were all forced to do things virtually.
Right.
And so now you picked up this new habit where, this is another option, right? And so that's probably where the influx of interest is coming from.
Well, I actually think that faculty and students found out that they could do more in the virtual space through digital instruction than previously they thought they could. Now, you still have students who want that traditional experience on campus, what they call it the brick and mortar experience in a physical building like this one, in a classroom with other students. But also what's taking off is something called hybrid learning, which is a combination of the two. Where you go to class in person, but you also have some time where you're just online doing your educational studies and assignments. And students are navigating both of those new territories.
It's something how a pandemic can teach you new things, right? So that's great. You also have individuals who may also have a degree and they're working for a new career path or whatnot, and they wanted to enhance their learning or a new trade. What are some of those programs? I know you talked about the supply chain being one of them. What are some others if you want to go
A really
back and
popular
touch on
one
those?
is called Lean Six Sigma, which is a specialized, when I first heard that, I'm thinking karate, black belt, because there's a green belt and a black belt in Six Sigma. But really what they're talking about is continuous improvement, training for people who want to enhance the business processes and flow at a particular company or manufacturing site or organization. And that's one of our popular programs. And we also are in this space where we are forming partnerships with major corporations to do computer numeric control. It's called CNC. And so there are several companies, Mitsubishi, where we have partnered with them and we're training their employees in this process, and we're also training high school students in this process. And we do that through our School for Extended Learning. So we have a whole division at GSU that is dedicated to people who just want to gain more skills. They're not trying to get another degree. They just want specialized skills, and that area is taking off, and we're excited about that because that's helping grow the workforce.
There you go. Yes, yes.
And
absolutely.
meeting the employer's demand for skilled workers. So we are in that space as well, and we're very proud of that.
That's great, and it's very instrumental, especially when the workforce is at a state where there's a need for more skillful workers. So it's great that companies can touch out, connect, and partner with GSU to offer more training that your university offers. So that's great. So thank you for sharing that information as well. So we've had quite a few employees through the village of Matteson, actually, that have come through GSU. As you were saying, 80% of your population is within a 20-mile radius, and then add on to village employees, and even our mayor, Sheila Chalmers-Kern, is an alum, right? Because she received a distinguished award, I believe, a couple of years ago. So that's fantastic.
Well, let me just say that the mayor is an outstanding alum, and she received that award last year. So it was very recent.
Okay.
And we were very excited to give her that award. She was actually voted on by members of her college to receive that award.
Absolutely, because they become that walking billboard of the potential and the things that you can achieve by having an education through GSU. So it's great that you're now having that Hall of Fame that you talked about that will be at GSU. So can't wait for that to get up and flourishing so we can see all the individuals who've come through and made a difference by attending GSU.
Actually, the Hall of Fame is up and opened, and we just opened it, I want to say, May?
Okay, so fairly recent.
Yes, very recent.
Okay.
And so we had a big grand opening and some honorees, and the community has been very, very supportive of that, and coming up and attending the program, the dinner, the celebration.
Right.
So every year there will be a list of people who are outstanding in various fields honored by the Black Hall of Fame. So.
All right, and so I'm sure that list will keep growing, right?
Right.
It will not stop.
Right.
Great. So also too, we talked about, the other resource centers you talked about, and what about some cultural experience at GSU? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, there are two outstanding cultural centers at GSU. I'll start with the Nathan Manilow Sculpture Park, which by the way is having their sculpture wine and dine on September 8th, come one, come all.
Okay.
But GSU was voted the best outdoor sculpture park in America by Reader's Digest last year. So we celebrated that for quite some time. We were very excited about that. We competed with sculpture parks all over America. And we came out number one. So we're very proud of that. And we have over 30 sculptures on our grounds, and they're just so amazing in terms of the artistry, the education, the information, the visual display, and what the artist was trying to communicate by making that particular piece. And we celebrate that at GSU. Another one of our jewels at GSU is our Center for Performing Arts. I mean, that Center for Performing Arts is just known all over the state. People come from several counties to visit and attend the programming there. We have gospel concerts, we have musicals, we have plays, we have theatrical performances, and we have a whole season that runs, that showcases a variety of issues, artists, and it's just something I'm very proud of. They just celebrated their 25th year of operation, and they cater not only to the community, but to the youth. They have a lot of programs where they attract young people to come, dance competitions, and Shin Young, we were the only other site in the Chicagoland area, besides one place in Chicago, that had Shin Young. And so I have seen, just in my 2 years there, that place sell out for so many performances. We had the tribute to Aretha Franklin, which I personally attended, which was amazing. Everybody was dancing in the aisles, young, old, black, white. It was amazing. We had so much fun at that concert because everybody loves Aretha's music. So, the Queen of Soul.
There you go.
But that's just, one of many, many, many different events that we've had. And I always look forward to the season because, the programming is outstanding.
Right, absolutely. So you have to make sure you're always letting Matteson know so we can help promote it as
Absolutely.
well. For sure. Wow, I'm telling you, GSU has just been doing some phenomenal things under your great leadership. And so much you've shared today, and I'm sure some of our viewers were just not aware. So I'm glad that you came on, used this platform to get that information out to our viewers in hopes that it intrigues someone who's watching to say, let me take another leap. Let me go in and get some more education behind me, because these are some of the things that I can achieve by having GSU behind me and having that education. So I thank you so much for coming on and sharing this information with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. So viewers, hopefully you've heard a lot from Dr. Cheryl Green, president of Governor State University, that has been here just sharing phenomenal things about exciting things going on at the university. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, stay informed, stay in tune. Thank you for joining Eye on Matteson.